Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Ithaqua's Bane, bringing you gaming goodness, and we are back with the Legacy of Cthulhu RPG from 101 Games and mindsvision. In the previous video, we took Gunther, our survivor. We took him into the streets of Berlin with the eternal cold, but luckily we have winter clothes, so we don't have to make the constant checks for, is it hypothermia? But yes, day one, we managed to find some fuel for our bike. We found out that there was a quest, an important event happening in a nearby hex. 6 survivors want to spread insanity with a powerful spell, which will kill many other survivors. Obviously, they're trying to get rid of the competition for food and everything else, yeah? And let's quickly go to the map camera. Here we are. This is my Gunther model. We're currently in our shelter in this hex, which is D3. The important quest, or the important event or the quest is here. I'll put a little token here of kind of like a survivor. So that's the hex where this quest is. Now I'm thinking that I might want a little bit more firepower and possibly a companion before I attempt that quest. So for day 2, we're going to be looking first for another survivor and also for possibly more weapons. Back to the game. And also on day 1, we had a fight with a Biaki. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A Biaki, an elder god minion, a flying minion that we did actually manage to defeat because the dice were good to me for a change. We didn't have a horde attack, thank goodness for that, because I think at the moment we wouldn't survive a horde attack. We'd have to abandon our shelter. But we are at day 2. So guys, if you are enjoying my channel and my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe, click the notifications, spread the word, share my video, share my channel to everybody that you know. And let me know in the comments below things that you would like me to include on the channel. Maybe, have you played these games before? What do you think? Let's get on with it. Right, we are ready to start day 2. The sequence of play is that first you can move to an adjacent hex. If you're moving by foot, it takes 1 hour per hex. If you're on a vehicle, it takes half an hour per hex. For every adjacent tile, basically, we have to choose an action. We then roll for an event. If we want to remain in the tile and do something else, we've got to roll to see whether we get an encounter, and then rinse and repeat as many times as we want. But it's a good idea to get back to your shelter before the night, because we do have to make a check for a horde attack every night. And being in your shelter does provide a little bit of protection, not a lot. I mean, this early in the game, when it's just my character, when I'm by myself, I think in 99.9% of the cases, it's just not worth defending your shelter because there's just going to be too many of them to overcome. All right, so what we're going to do, let's go to the map. We didn't have a lot of luck going above ground yesterday. We did find a whole bunch of fuel, but like I say, we found out about this little quest, which is a little bit concerning. We also had that encounter with the Biaki, the flyer. What I'm thinking is maybe for day 2, I will maybe explore the sewer system or the underground system. So I'm thinking that maybe I will head in this direction and see what happens. Now, with each of these sort of tiles, each tile type or terrain type, there is a different event table to roll on. So I don't know whether we'll be finding another Biaki down here in the underground, but we'll see what happens. So we're going to start day 2, and I'm going to move into this hex here. We're going to follow the sewers and the underground into that hex there. Now that is going to take 1 hour. Let's go back to the game. So in my little notebook, I'm going to put here, so we're going to travel. We're going to travel to, okay, so this is hex E4. I've got a little XY plot for the map to the side here. You can't see, and that is going to be underground, and it's going to take 1 hour. So we then move to 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, as a sort of standard, the game says you start at 6 o'clock every day. Don't have to. You can start earlier or later if you want. But if you start later, you're probably going to have less time to do what you need to do. Okay, one thing I did actually do off camera after playing day one was to update my food. I had 12 food, but my shelter does have a water collector that provides 2 food per day, or the equivalent of like 2 rations per day. So I actually added 2, and I deleted 1 for the day that we were playing. Horrible little fly. So yeah, so we've now got 13 food, yeah, plus 2 minus 1. Also, we got 1 XP. As a standard, you get 1 XP per day. Quests and sort of important events can give you more. What else did we do? I put my fuel down here. So we found 10 units of fuel, and fuel can be used. It's like 1 unit of fuel can do 10 hexes of movement. So I've just put down here basically 100 hexes of movement. Now, I'm not going to use the bike for today, because I think we're going to be moving underground, and using a bike underground or in the sewers probably is not the best idea. But yeah, that's what we did. That's what I did off camera. It's now 7 o'clock. We have arrived. Go back to the map. We've now arrived in this hex. Again, I'm doing it on foot. What am I going to do here? I think I will. Well, what have we got options of? Again, these are examples of sort of basic actions. You can modify or come up with your own if you want. Acquire a random item, acquire a specific item. Now, if I want to find something like a rifle, I mean, it's like last time in day one, we looked for fuel, specific fuel, and that took us 5 hours. So if I want to find something like a rifle, it's going to take 4 hours. I mean, would I be able to find a rifle underground? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I wouldn't be able to find a rifle underground, but maybe I find one randomly, possibly. So we could look for a random item. That only takes 1 hour, but you're kind of playing the odds in terms of what you get. Build or upgrade, can't do that yet because we don't have any parts. Find another survivor. Time according to the tile. Underground, 2 hours. So if I try and find another survivor, it's going to take 2 hours. Again, we tried this last time when we failed the roll, so we never found anyone. Hunt for food. Okay, I'm not in a position to worry about food at the moment. If I find more survivors, then yes, it could be an issue. Interact with the character. We haven't found any characters yet. Look for a new shelter. Look for a temporary shelter. Okay, what I'm thinking of maybe to start with is, but just find a random item and see what we get. You know, let's play with the dice a little bit. So acquire a random item. So I'm going to write that down in my notebook. Yeah, search for a random item. It's going to take 1 hour, and we have to roll on table 22. Now, there's no skill check for this. You're going to find something if you search. The question is what you're going to find. But if we look at table 22, 22, where are you? 2 and 2. Okay. There is a possibility of encountering a trap. There's also the possibility of finding an artifact. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend an hour searching for an item. After this, we do have to roll for an event. But let's go to, just had it now. I had it just then, didn't I? Table 22. Let's see what we find. D10. Bum, bum. Oh, 9. Almost. Our vehicle. I didn't bring any fuel with me, did I? Okay, we found a vehicle. Table 26 here. What do we find? 6. A large car. Defense of 20, 6 passengers, and 3 upgrade slots. Okay, so we find a functioning large car underground. I mean, maybe this part of the underground or the sewer system leads to kind of like an underground garage. Maybe the wall has broken away and we find some kind of underground parking area. And amongst all the ruined cars, we do find one sort of large car which is functioning. Okay, what we can do is we can actually use the oracle to find out if it has any fuel. My starting vehicle, I basically said that it didn't have any fuel. But maybe what we can do in this case when we find a vehicle is we can find out whether there's any fuel in there, or maybe we can siphon from the vehicles around it enough to sort of give it at least 1 unit of fuel possibly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the oracle. Now, this is something fairly standard with solo role-playing games. I mean, even with sort of tabletop campaign games, you can also use an oracle to help you to make decisions or to guide you, sort of to do the job that a games master would normally do. So it's here on page 83. It's a very, very simple scenario. It's basically a no, yes, where you've got a negative result and a positive result. So what you have to do is you have to ask a closed question, a question where basically you have opposite answers. And from there, you can embellish, you can flavor, you can modify the answer to suit the question that you're asking in particular. So it looks here as if you roll a 1 to 5, it's a negative result. It's a 6 to 10, you get a positive result. So things like yes, positive, to the right, up, open, working, all these sort of things. So I'm going to ask a question. Okay, does the car that we found, does it have any fuel? The answer is 2. No, negative. So the car that we found does not have any fuel. But I want to ask another question. Can we siphon enough fuel from the cars around to give it maybe 1 unit of fuel so I can get it out? No. Okay, so we found a car and there's absolutely no fuel. So what I'm going to have to do if I want to use this car, back to the map, is I'm going to have to go back to my shelter and collect some of the fuel that I have found yesterday, on day 1, bring it here so that I can then use the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a token in this hex to help me remember that there is a car here. I'm also going to write in my notebook what we have found. Right, well, amongst the hundreds of tokens that I have that I've sort of printed out and used over the years, I don't have any sort of small car ones. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use a standard numbered token. Again, I've made a note. In my, can't see it, can you? There it is, up there. Yeah. I've made a note, in the book, so it's skull 1. So we found this vehicle, a large car, but it's got no fuel. So again, I may have to come back and find fuel for it. Or what I could do is after I roll for the event, I could maybe search for more fuel. I mean, I've got 100 fuel. I don't actually need more fuel, but it just means going backwards and forwards. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, do I want to? Because the thing is, I don't actually have a garage at the shelter. So a garage can hold, I think, up to 2 vehicles. At the moment, my sort of motorcycle is like hidden outside because I don't have the garage. So I think I'll leave the car there for the time being. If we need it, I can come and get it. Like if I lose my motorcycle or something, yeah? So I think that's fine. We'll just leave it there. However, because we have now done a action, now we have to roll for an event. And for that, we are going to move that away. We are in an underground hex. So we have to roll on the underground event table. So let us roll. Again, it's a 2d10 roll. The first determines whether you're in this section or this section. And then the other d10 will determine which event it is. So we'll go green first. We get an 8-2. So 8 brings us here, and a 2 brings us there. You find a shelter with d10 survivors. Ooh, however, we're going to have the same problem as we had last time with Frank the fireman. I'm not going to be very good at talking. So, yeah, okay. Well, how many survivors? It says, where's it? Hang on. Move out of the way. It says you find a shelter with D10 survivors. How many do we find? 7. Okay, I don't want to get on bad terms with these guys. So what should I do? I mean, I can approach and basically just say hi and who are you and can I come in and, well, I mean, they're in the hex next to me. I mean, they're they're right next to me. There's a blooming shelter here. I'm here. Maybe I can join them. But then if I join them, maybe I won't have the control because obviously they've got a leader who may tell me what to do. Well, let's see what happens. What I'm going to do is write this down first before I forget. So, found a shelter with 7 survivors. Now, it's underground. So that means that this shelter must have had some expansions because a normal shelter can basically just take care of maybe 1 or 2 people. With a dormitory, you can have up to 5. They've got 7. So that means they've got to have at least 2 dormitories, which also means it's above the standard space. Because, where did I put my character sheet? Here it is. For an underground shelter, you've only got 3 space. A dormitory takes up 2 space. So in order for them to have enough space for 7 survivors, this underground shelter that I've just found must have had some upgrades in terms of space. So it's obviously going to be bigger than mine and possibly better equipped than mine. I mean, I could potentially maybe challenge the leader for control, maybe? I mean, I've got spells, and that might be able to help. I mean, it's a bit of a negative way of playing rather than coming up and trying to be friends. I sort of come up and go, I challenge the leader to a fight for control of this shelter, blah, blah, blah. I do have the spell Inflict Harm, which means I can do ranged attacks, but the thing is I've got nothing else, I've just got a machete. So I've got to get inside, haven't I? Or maybe I'll get accepted by them first and then challenge the leader. Because like I say, if I join this group, I'm not going to be in charge. And I may have to sort of do whatever the leader wants kind of thing. Let's see first. Okay, I'm going to make a check to talk to, I mean, I'm going to be starting at a lower stance anyway, because my stance is 7. I think for a sort of general sort of survivor, I think they start at 8. So I'm automatically kind of a bit dominated. But I could try a presence manipulation role to basically get them to let me in, to have a more positive. Let me think. Well, let's roll on the oracle first. Are these people in as I approach the shelter, sort of carefully, not sort of walk out in the open kind of thing, because you never know if they're just going to shoot first, ask questions later. But as I approach and sort of make myself known to them, are they going to be initially hostile or sort of passively defensive kind of thing? So are they going to be hostile? We get a 2. No. Okay, so there is the potential, actually, oops, I moved the map. Apologies for that. There is the potential to actually talk with them, communicate with them, because they're not overly hostile to begin with, which is a good thing. But now I think I'm going to have to make a presence check to see whether I can convince them to let me in and talk. Now, Frank the Fireman in the quick play videos didn't have much luck with this. But with Gunther, I did actually take manipulation as a skill because that will give me a +2, which will help with my low presence of 2. So I'm actually getting a +4 to the roll. So I'm going to make a presence manipulation check to try and get them to let me in. Right, so let me in. So I'm going to do a presence manipulation roll. I do have the skill, but my presence is only 2. So I'm getting a total of 2 +2. I'm getting a +4 to the roll. No. No. Yeah, they really don't want to let me in. It's like, no, okay, thank you. I'm picturing the French. Was it Monty Python and the Holy Grail? The French, the French soldiers on the wall. Let me in. No, thank you. Your father smelt of elderberries. Um, uh, okay, so they really don't want me to let me in. I sort of approach and go, "Hi, can I come in and talk? I'm in need of food and shelter. Can I come and talk with you?" And they're like, "Nah, thanks. We're good. Thank you very much." um, oh, this isn't a good start at all. But there is. It's a 1, so there's no way they're going to let me in. But there is a shelter in that hex as well. So we found there is a large car in sort of abandoned parking lot underground. There is a shelter with 7 people, but they're not hostile, but they're not friends at the moment. They're not going to be friends with me at the moment. All right, so the shelter is in, where are we? E4, right? So this is in E4. The car is also in E4. A lot of stuff in E4. I'm going to have to get another token, aren't I, to represent the shelter. Give me 1 second. So we're going to be using token number 2, because again, I don't really have a token to represent a shelter, a gate, or anything like that. So onto the map. Dum dum dum. So E4, we've got 2 tokens: a shelter and an abandoned car. Okay, now that was the event. Now I found survivors, but I need a companion. I need somebody to help me with the quest. So I don't want to stay in here and do any more. So I actually want to leave. And again, I'm thinking that this takes 1 hour. 1 hour. So that brings us. Christ, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. I think I need to find a rifle. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to go above ground, because I don't think it makes much sense to search for a rifle underground. So I'm going to travel to, I think I'm going to travel to here, which is a wreckage tile here, and this is going to be D4. So I'm going to go to D4 here. So at 9 o'clock we travel to D4, double check, D4, yes, which is wreckage. Need to sharpen my pencil as well. And that takes another hour. So it's now 10 o'clock in the morning, still really early, but we've got quite a lot done. Right, what am I going to do here? I think I want to try and search for a gun. What type of gun do we want to look for? Let's have a butcher's and see what we can get. Let's look at the damage first to see what damage we can get. Dum dum dum. Shelters. Where's the equipment last time? Don't remember. Armor, weapons. All right. So rifles would do body +2, same as my machete, but it's at a range. A machine gun, assault rifle. Okay, so these machine guns or assault rifles will be much more useful in terms of defending a shelter, because for like a fully automatic weapon, you can actually take out more enemies. A rifle is going to be limited in terms of sort of 1 enemy for a horde attack anyway. But maybe I'll look for an assault rifle. I might need to find some more ammo afterwards as well. So if I want to find an assault rifle, it's going to take 5 hours. I think it's worth it though. I do think it's worth it. So we're going to go, we're going to try and acquire a specific item. It's going to take 5 hours, and we've got to make a mind investigation check. Oh, for a random item, we don't have to make the roll, do we? All right, so I am going to, in the wreckage, I'm going to try and, where was it? So yeah, search for assault rifle. It's going to take 5 hours. And it's a mind investigation roll. Right, so I don't have investigation, But my mind is 4, so I'm getting a +4 to the roll, which is okay. A +4 to the roll. Bom, bom. No, we get a 6. So we don't find our rifle, and 5 hours has passed. So it's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Nuts. I mean, I've got to roll for another event, but this time the event is on the wreckage table. Underground. What's the first one? Wreckage. Here we go. So green first. We get a 2. Wow, no. Okay, this not necessarily. I mean, I go, oh no, because normally 1s are bad. We get a 2, 1. You come across someone. Roll for a neutral encounter. Oh, okay. So it's not a violent encounter. This could be somebody that we can talk to, maybe we can trade with, or possibly even get to join us. But again, some of that's going to require presence, isn't it? All right, let me just write that down. Right, so table 19 to 20, 18, 19. Okay, so you've got violent encounters here where you've got a very high chance of combat. But you've also got these ones where, I mean, I think there still might be a chance of combat, but a lot less chance. So again, we're rolling a 2d10, green first. We get a 10 and a 1. 10 and a 1. Vultures fly over your area looking for something to eat. Oh, okay. So safe. But we didn't find anybody. If you find somebody, there is a chance that they can join you as a companion. What couldn't have... Well, the thing is, if it had been the other way round, 110, you find a man passed out in a dark corner. See, that is a potential companion. But no, we see vultures. All right, let me just make a note. All right, positive thoughts. Nothing dangerous. It's a non-dangerous event. On the negative, it's nothing. I could have got a companion. All right, so that's the event done. In terms of time, again, I'm taking the event as taking 1 hour, unless it's obvious it should take longer or shorter. So that's another hour. So it's now 4 o'clock. Now, I am only 1 hex away from my shelter, so it's not going to take a huge amount of time. But if I stay here and do something else, I've got to roll and see if there's a violent encounter. So what I might do, if I travel to here, it's then going to be 5 o'clock. It's going to be nighttime by the time I get back, isn't it? But I think I want to search for that rifle. I want to make another search for an assault rifle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move into this hex here, which is the ruins, and risk another action and event, I think, before I go back home, because I've got nothing. Yeah, this entire day, I've actually got nothing. I found a car which I can't move. Well, I mean, I could have moved if I'd gone back to the shelter and got fuel, and I found a shelter that doesn't want to let me in at the moment. I mean, a 1, I'm going to have I think because of that 1, I think I'm going to have a disadvantage. Should I? I think that makes sense. So I'm thinking that because I rolled a 1, I think future attempts will be at a disadvantage. I think that makes sense. Because it was such a bad roll. It's like critical failure. Future attempts equals disadvantage. I think that makes sense. But yeah, there you go. But the thing is that they are next to me, so in an emergency, I might be able to go to them, maybe, and try again. Even with a disadvantage, I've got a chance. Right, so I'm going to travel to this hex here, which is C4. We've been here before, haven't we? Yeah, we tried finding a survivor here and failed. And this is also where I found that Byaki, that flying creature, that flying elder god minion thing. Do I really want to go there? Yeah, let's go there anyway. So we're traveling to C4, which is ruins. It's going to take another hour. I might have to take my bike out next time, I think. So it is now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We are going to, I think I'm going to try and search for the assault rifle. No, I'm not. I just saw this and remembered it's going to take 5 hours to search for an assault rifle. Maybe I'll just do a random search here, because a random search is just going to take one hour. Yeah. I mean, 5 hours, that's going to take me up to 10 o'clock at night. I don't think I want to do that. Horde attack outside the shelter? No, thanks. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do just a general search. Right. So yeah, I'm just going to search for a random item. It takes 1 hour, which is going to bring us to 6 o'clock. Then we have the event, which will take us to 7 o'clock. Traveling back to the shelter will be 8 o'clock. So yeah. Yep, just a random item. So we have to roll on table 22. And hopefully, you never know, we may find a gun. D10. Okay, let's see what we find. We got a 7. Equipment. Okay, well, at least it's something. The day hasn't been a complete waste. Table 24. Equipment found. D10. Bump. A 6. Binoculars or telescopic sight. I don't have a gun, so the sight won't be any use at the moment. The binoculars will be more useful at the moment. Rolling a D10. Of course, it's the telescopic sight. Okay, well, if and when we find an assault rifle or a rifle, we've got a telescopic sight for it. But yeah, okay, I can take that because I don't have anything else. My backpack's empty, so I've got sort of 10 item slots inside the backpack that are just looking for something. So I can put the telescopic sight inside my backpack, and I think after the event, we'll just go home, I think. So yeah, so now we're going to be doing a... Sorry, I didn't move my guide, did I? I moved there. So we're currently in ruins. So let's find the ruins. Event table, coast, ruins. Here we go. Right, rolling. Did I... Hang on. That was 1 hour, so it's now 6 o'clock. And we're going to roll the event. Okay, 6 o'clock in the evening. In the freezing cold, but it's okay. I've got winter clothes. So green first. We get a 4-4. Okay. All right, 4-4. So we're here and here. Okay. You witness a group of psychos approaching a warehouse where survivors you know are hiding inside. Well, I mean, the only shelter that I know where there are survivors is underground. It was in the other hex. So maybe this is something that I don't actually know, but maybe I can hear the survivors inside sort of shouting and sort of getting ready to repel, because maybe this is a horde attack of psychos. Maybe it's not just a few, because if they're approaching a warehouse, if they're approaching a shelter, it's more likely they're not going to be a horde attack. So I don't know whether I'm going to help them. I might just take cover and just watch, or maybe try and escape. I mean, if I try and escape, my shelter's right next door, isn't it? So it shouldn't be a problem, but I don't know. I mean, if it's psychos, if it's a horde attack, it's going to be 30 plus 2d10. I mean, maybe tomorrow I could go there and see if the psychos are still there. If they're not there, I can try and loot the place and see if anything was left behind. That might work, possibly. But I don't think I'm going to get involved. I've got a machete. Yeah, I've got a machete with a telescopic sight. So what I'm going to say is that this is a horde attack. It's 6 o'clock, so it's starting to get a little bit dark. And obviously this is a shelter where there are survivors. And I think it's going to be a horde attack. So a horde attack of psychos, how many? If it's psychos, 30 plus 2d10. Oh no, sorry guys. 13. So 43 psychos. This isn't good for them at all. So I just made a note here. When it's a group of psychos approaching a warehouse, survivor shelter, I'm going to make this 2 hours because it's a horde attack. It's not going to be over really quickly. So I'm making this a 2-hour event. Horde attack of 43 psychos. I'm just going to watch and wait. I'm not going to get involved, I don't think. There's nothing I can do to help. So we watch, and I'm thinking, let's have a think. Do they overcome? See, the thing is, I'm hesitant to use the Oracle because the Oracle is like a 50-50 chance. So I'm kind of thinking that a horde attack, normally the odds are very much in the horde's favor. So maybe I'll do an Oracle check to find out sort of the end result. Do the psychos win? Do the survivors win? But maybe I make the Oracle roll with a disadvantage. So I roll the dice and I take the more negative result. Because, like I say, I think the odds are more in favor of the horde. I mean, would 2 dice with just a single disadvantage be enough? Because it's a horde attack. Yeah, I think it will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically sort of roll to find the outcome of this attack on this survivor shelter. But I'm going to do it with a disadvantage for the survivors. Because like I say, horde attacks are normally devastating. Unless you've got a really kitted up shelter, you're normally overwhelmed and you have to run away and find another shelter. So I'm putting the odds in the Psycho's favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2 dice on the Oracle, but I'm going to take the lowest result. The survivors still have a chance. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. So we're rolling. And okay, so I got 1 positive, 1 negative, but I said it was a disadvantage. So I'm going to take the lowest result, which is negative. So the survivors don't survive. The shelter is overrun by this horde of psychos. As they crash through the outer wall, they manage to get through the barricades. Maybe there's an electric fence. You know, there are casualties for the psychos. Maybe they lose like half their number, but the shelter is overrun. And maybe I can see 1 or 2 survivors managing to escape and running out further into the ruins. But the psychos basically take over that shelter. But for me, that could potentially be a place to loot on day 3. So the shelter, overwhelmed, can't spell. Possible loot, question mark. All right. So this is in, where is this? C4, is it? So yeah, C4. So C4. Maybe I should circle look, because it tends to get hidden in amongst all the text. So maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I'll highlight them. But yeah, so the psychos overwhelm the shelter. They have a good time smashing everything up and probably stealing whatever's not nailed down or bolted down. But that was the event. So I said that's going to take 2 hours, right? So that brings us up to 8 o'clock. And I'm just going to travel back to the shelter. So we're traveling back to the shelter, going to the map. We are just 1 hex away, so it takes 1 hour. So we get back to the shelter at 9 o'clock. And we've got to check for another horde attack for us, yeah, for our shelter. I'm hoping that the dice are good to me and that the psycho horde doesn't continue this way in their rampage and they go somewhere else. So again, let's go back to the page. Once a night on a 1 or 2, we get a horde attack. Oh God. Please, 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 no horde attack. A 9. Okay. The horde of psychos decides to go in a completely different direction. We are safe for another night. Good, good, good. We've still got that. Oh, we've still got that quest to do. I've moved back to my shelter. But yeah, there is in this hex. There's that destroyed shelter where I could possibly find some loot, maybe. Since survivors were there, psychos were there. Should I give myself an advantage if I search there for random items or guns, maybe? We'll see. Maybe I'll go there on day 3. But day 2 is over, so we've now got 2 XP. The water collector gives us 2 food, but since it's only me, I'm only going to eat 1. So that means we have now got, apologies for the movement, we've now got 14 food. 2 more than we started with, which is excellent. And we also have a telescopic sight. Now, the telescopic sight, and with a lot of the equipment that you find, doesn't sort of have stats. But what it will do, like for example, like with a telescopic sight, it will give me an advantage to my roll. In other words, I'm rolling 2 dice and taking the highest when I'm making sort of long-range shots with a rifle. Possibly also with an assault rifle if I switch it to single shot or maybe sort of small burst, possibly. But I've got one, but I don't have a gun to go with it. But we are done for day 2. We are ready for day 3. So guys, thank you once again for watching the channel, for watching the videos, and for watching this particular video. Please add a like. I would love it if you added a like. It helps me to get more visibility on the channel. You know, the algorithm's a bit nasty. And if you haven't already, please think about subscribing to the channel. I don't have a regular upload schedule because of real life. So if you want to be notified when I do upload videos, just click the bell below. And again, please spread the word. I need to boost up the channel a bit, get some more subscribers, get some more views. It sort of motivates me to do more. So guys, thanks once again. And until the next video, which I think will be day 3 of Legacy of Cthulhu, take care. Stay safe. Cheers.